whole new matchup here, but we still love it. You got a veteran, you got an OG who just pretty much shocked the world. Didn't shock the world, but he shocked all the casuals, myself included, I guess, right? Who bet on Vitor Petrino, the undefeated fighter who Smith took his O. You don't got an undefeated fighter across from you, but you still got a dude who's desperate for a win right now in Roman Dolidze. And both of these guys, man, they're kind of, it's like a mirror matchup almost right here. Only difference is, I would say Anthony Smith, he pulled out a new fun weapon in his last fight that I really enjoyed against Petrino. And it was that jab, man. He lived behind the jab and it set up everything else. But we have to be honest right here. Would you be honest with me, AJ? Give me a fair take right here. Level with me. If Vitor Petrino did not have one of the lowest IQ moves you could make, which is let me just jump into a takedown, try to pick him up, and put myself perfectly into a guillotine, I mean, I felt like Petrino was rolling right there. So Anthony Smith capitalized. Do you think that that was the case, or was it pure veteranship?
No, I mean, I agree with you, Derek. I think the veteranship landed into that, but I mean, it was up to Anthony Smith to take the neck when it was presented, but it was basically a door wide open that Petrino let happen.
I would have took that neck, bro. You gonna just leave it there? Give me that. You know what I mean? Roman Dolidze, fair to say, this dude is a knockout artist who truly is a grappler, man. Doesn't have any submissions in the UFC, but that's his game. I don't see those holes opening themselves up for Anthony Smith. So again, mirror matchup. Minus 170 was the open for Roman Dolidze, plus 140 for Anthony Smith. If we're clocking it right now, we are taking a look at minus 140 for Dolidze, plus 120 for Anthony Smith. So it's definitely getting back to the neutral point right there. My question to you is, if this fight stays standing, do you think Anthony Smith runs away with this for a 3-round clinic? Because Dolidze has left a lot of things to be desired in the striking department as of late.
Runs away with it's a hard one, Derek, because of how the judges are going to be perceiving this. I actually expect Dolidze to be the one putting the pressure on, be the bruiser, be the one that's trying to walk you down. That's his kind of style. Where Anthony Smith, I see him taking that jab approach, right, working it, and then setting up some traps at least going forward. So I can see Anthony Smith out striking Dolidze. But if Dolidze has the power and the pressure the entire time, we'll see how that actually unfolds.
If you look at the measurables, man, these guys are super similar right here. If you look at the output, Smith is a little bit more busy, but Dolidze is definitely going to be trying to take the fight to the ground. I think he'll learn from the mistake from his last fight, man, last couple of fights against Imavov and Vettori. I think he'll try to get the fight to the ground a lot faster than he has, especially in the Imavov fight. But it's fair to say Lionheart is not Nasruddin Imavov. You know what I mean? Like, he's not a fluid, bouncy type of guy. Both of them are pretty rooted into the mat. So let's talk about the grappling a little bit. Is it a push? Is it an offset? Or do you see one of these guys having an advantage?
Off the top, Derek, I think Anthony Smith has the advantage in the grappling, and I might catch some heat for that, but we know how dangerous Anthony Smith can be. And yes, the one we were talking about before with Petrino, that was a layup, but we've seen him also set up situations in which he puts himself in those advantageous positions. And with Dolidze going in, I don't really expect Dolidze to falter in that kind of aspect, but I do expect him to want to get the fight there where Anthony Smith can make some moves.
One thing that is guaranteed here is that both of these fighters are going to bring it, right? We're not going to be dancing, chasing each other around. I think they meet in the middle, and whoever's left standing or whoever's left still conscious and not separated from reality, of course, that's going to be the winner. But let's break down, do we see any plays here? To me, I'm going to be completely frank with you guys. This is more of a stay away for me. Super short notice bout right here, but more important than that, this is a short notice put together bout. So there wasn't a ton of time to really break this down on either fighter's end. You kind of just got to go into the camp and just whatever happens, happens. So this is more of a stay away from me from just a pure picking a winner side. Of course, for this platform that we're doing, we're going to give you guys some picks. But real quick, AJ, let's pop open the big screen again. Let's take a look at what the over is. Minus 2.5 rounds right here. Minus 120 for the over, minus 110 on the under. That shows you the odds makers don't know, bro. This is a coin flip right here. So what are your thoughts right here, man? What do you favor? Do you favor, obviously we favor the fighters right here, of course, in our own respective decisions, but where do you see value right here? If you were objective and you were just taking a look at this, not a horse in the race or whatever they say, where's the most value to be found?
Instantly, Derek, I'm thinking that minus 120 for the over makes a lot more sense to me, but I can see a finish happening, especially with the hands. Once things get going, if there's some weird, pressure happening, one of them lands a good bomb and then we're seeing it. I mean, we've seen stoppages happen before, right? And not to say none of these guys can just starch each other, because that's the absolute case. But I'm not expecting that one out of this fight. I'm expecting more of a little bit of a grudge match right here. That's why I like the over.
The durability of Anthony Smith also lends to that over, but this is where I see the value right here. If I'm just being frank, if I'm just looking at these numbers and I'm just like, okay, Out of all of the scenarios that could happen, what's the best path to that decision victory for Anthony Smith? Be a little bit busier on the feet, right? Which he already does that. Don't get caught being with your back on the mat. And if you do throw up submission attempts, work back up to your feet, tire out Dolidze and make him look fatigued and gassed out when 15 minutes roll around. And I could see a decision right here. The only problem that we have is that Anthony Smith, as we've seen time and time and time again, and this is no disrespect, all respect to the fighters, but he's another one of those fighters who I can never really quite nail, if that makes sense. Like, it just depends on the day. Sometimes Anthony Smith is looking fire, like, yo, we get this man. He's already in the top 10, but get him back in that title contention. And then other days, like the Khalil Roundtree fight, you're just like, yo, is this guy, should he be fighting this level of competition? So Roman Dolidze is going to be that big test. I would stay away from this stay away from this fight if I were you guys personally. But of course, I'm going to roll with Roman Dolidze in this short notice bout. AJ, to lead us out of here.
I'm rolling with Anthony Smith, and I agree, Derek. Well, for just prop based, right? Props you're throwing on these, I'm staying away all day. That's why I like this in a parlay. Might hit, might not. It's a short notice fight, but I'm like the Lionheart in this one.
All right. And another contentious pick, but we digress.